Speaker Gingrich, on the Freddie Mac website in 2007, you said this: I like the GSE, or government-sponsored enterprise like Freddie Mac model. Making home ownership more affordable is a policy goal that I believe conservatives should embrace. Now, in an earlier debate, a recent debate, you said that politicians like Barney Frank, who, in your words, profited from the environment that led to the financial meltdown, should go to jail. Now that it turns out that you were on the Freddie Mac payroll to the tune of more than $1.6 million, how do you answer critics who say that you're being hypocritical?
I think pretty straightforward. Barney Frank was in public office with direct power over Freddie Mac. He exploited that power, just as Chris Dodd was in public office when he got special bargains from Countrywide, a firm which went broke. They were using power. I was a private citizen, engaged in a business like any other business. Now, if you read the whole thing that they posted, I said they need more regulations. And I want to go back to my point about helping people buy houses. I worked for years with Habitat for Humanity. I think it's a good conservative principle to try to find ways to help families that are right at the margin learn how to budget, learn how to take care of a house, learn how to buy a house. And I'm not going to step back from the idea that, in fact, we should have as a goal helping as many Americans as possible be capable of buying homes. And when you look, for example, electric membership co-ops, and you look at credit unions, there are a lot of government-sponsored enterprises that are awfully important and do an awfully good job.
Congressman Paul, you are, and having been in this town for, 48 hours now, you are all over Iowa TV these days with a negative ad about Speaker Gingrich. You accuse him of selling access and playing the corrupt revolving door game. What about the explanation you just heard that he's in the private sector and this is free enterprise?
Well, he has a different definition of the private sector than I have, because it's a GSC, government-sponsored enterprise. It's completely different. It's a government agency. They get the money and sponsorship. They get mixed up. It's the worst kind of economy. You know, pure private enterprise, more closely probably what Governor Romney is involved with, but if it's government-sponsored, it's a mixture of business and government. It's very, very dangerous. Some people say if it goes to extreme, it becomes fascism, because big business and big government get together. So yes, they get money. And I was talking about that for a long time, the line of credit, the excessive credit from the Federal Reserve, the Community Reinvestment Act. For 10 years or so, the Austrian economists knew there was a bubble, and at this time, nobody was listening or doing anything in the Congress. And then to go to work for them and get money from them, it literally is it's literally coming from the taxpayer. They went broke. We had to bail them out. So indirectly, that was money that he ended up getting. They're still getting money from us. Government-sponsored enterprise. It's not a free market enterprise.
Speaker Gingrich, 30 seconds to respond.
Well, let me just go back to what I said a minute ago. The term government-sponsored enterprise has a very wide range of things that do a great deal of good. Go across this state and talk to people in the electric membership co-ops. Go across this state and talk to people in the credit unions. There are a lot of very good institutions that are government-sponsored, and frankly,
Freddie Mac ain't one of them.
Anything which in any way has ever touched government could raise questions about doctors dealing with Medicare and Medicaid and a whole range of other government activities. There are many things governments do. I did no lobbying of any kind for any organization.
Nobody said you did.
That was a key part of every agreement we had.
Well, let me pick up with that with you, Congresswoman Bachmann, because you accuse Speaker Gingrich of peddling his influence with congressional Republicans to help the companies that paid him tens of millions of dollars since he's left office. Given his denial over time, and again tonight, that he denies ever having lobbied, what is your evidence, hard evidence, that he engaged in influence peddling?
Well, it's the fact that we know that he cashed paychecks from Freddie Mac. That's the best evidence that you can have. Over $1.6 million. And frankly, I am shocked listening to the former Speaker of the House, because he's defending the continuing practice of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. There's a big difference between a credit union and Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and they were the epicenter of the mortgage financial meltdown. I was trying to see these two entities put into bankruptcy because they frankly need to go away, when the Speaker had his hand out and he was taking $1.6 million to influence senior Republicans to keep the scam going in Washington, D.C. That's absolutely wrong. We can't have as our nominee for the Republican Party someone who continues to stand for Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. They need to be shut down, not built up.
Speaker Gingrich.
Well, the easiest answer is that's just not true. What she just said is factually not true. I never lobbied under any circumstance.
She didn't say you did.
I never went in and suggested
In that whole
anyway
statement, she didn't say
that
the
we
word
do this.
lobby.
In fact, I tried to help defeat the Housing Act when the Democrats were in charge of the House. And if you go back and talk to former Congressman Rick Lazio, he'll tell you when we were passing housing reform while I was Speaker, I never at any time tried to slow down the reform effort. In fact, I helped him pass the reform bill. And I think sometimes people ought to have facts before they make wild allegations.
Yes, sure. Congresswoman?
Well, after the debate that we had last week, PolitiFact came out and said that everything that I said was true. And the evidence is that Speaker Gingrich took $1.6 million. You don't need to be within the technical definition of being a lobbyist to still be influence peddling with senior Republicans in Washington, D.C. to get them to do your bidding. And the bidding was to keep this grandiose scam of Freddie Mac going. That is something that our nominee can't stand for. We have to shut down these government enterprises, and we've got to end them. And I think that's shocking that he's saying that.
Let me just say two things.
Speaker Gingrich, quickly.
Okay. I want to say two things. First, my policy is to break up both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It is not anything like what she just described.
Whilst getting paid by them.
I want to state unequivocally for every person watching tonight, I have never once changed my positions because of any kind of payment. Because the truth is, I was a national figure who was doing just fine, doing a whole variety of things, including writing best-selling books, making speeches, and the fact is, I only chose to work with people whose values I shared, and having people have a chance to buy a house is a value I believe still is important in America.
Oh yeah, even if they're junk loans.
With questions about the economy.
Even if they're junk loans. He stands, yeah, oh yeah. Hey, Freddie Mac was doing a great thing there, giving people junk loans that they knew were going to fail. Oh, that's a great, wonderful thing, isn't it? Yeah, and then he got paid by them with your money. You, the person listening to this video. Yep, that is if you have a job and pay taxes, like I do. Well, guess what? It was your money that he got paid with. And it was your money that Freddie Mac got bailed out with, and Fannie Mae. And he was happy to work with them and work for them. The point of all this isn't, oh, he was a lobbyist, oh, he was this or he was that. The point is, it was immoral. That's it. That's all. It was wrong. If any moral person was in his stance, you should have went, well, sorry, but that's the free market. You're going bankrupt. Bye. And he didn't. He was happy to help.